What's up, guys? This is Saber from the Neighborhood, coming at you with another war recap. We will be checking out our most recent victory against a clan known as Realm Warriors. It was a really good fight, and it came right down to the finish, so I hope you guys enjoy these attacks. First and foremost, I think we'll do these in order just for sake of clarity, and the first person to triple this war was Rosemary L, which may or may not be my alternate account. I can neither confirm nor deny. So we got Rosemary L coming in against the Engineer. And the first thing you're going to notice about this base is it's very vulnerable to hogs. There's a great path from that 6 to 9 to 12 to 3. You can sort of see how the defenses are arranged, in a sort of half-moon crescent shape. So I'm going to come in with the E-Drag and the Wrecker, the P.E.K.K.A.s, the Queen, Heroes, Kill Team, rage right into there. Getting deep into the base with the second level, and I brought a jump spell in case I could get all the way to that town hall, but things didn't go quite as planned, unfortunately. The P.E.K.K.A. and King and Queen all sort of got caught up there in that one little slot, so I dropped the jump a little bit lower than I had initially anticipated, but it did tend to work out. Now, look once this kill squad's sort of finishing up, you can see the path starting from around that 9 o'clock right around to that 3 o'clock side. There's sort of a half circle, and the hogs will follow that path nearly perfectly. Now, there's a key mistake with this attack, and I'll give you a second to notice it. I would suggest you pause and notice it right about here. But if you didn't pause and notice it, the thing being is that I forgot an earthquake spell, so the town hall never gets activated, which usually is enough to stop a raid dead in its tracks. So the hogs just keep progressing because the pathing is nearly perfect on this base. Got nearly 30 hoggos just bouncing around destroying things, and just keep healing them and keeping them alive. And so that's what I'm going to do. The hogs just keep moving on through the base, and they just keep kind of taking care of business. That town hall, however, is wrecking things. Now, this is kind of cool on the side. The P.E.K.K.A. barely survives. One more shot would have taken it down, and it actually helps quite a lot with cleanup. We're going to speed it up a little bit here as the hogs have clearly sort of moved through the rest of the defenses. And as they move through the final defenses, they and the warden head back towards the town hall. Going to go back up towards 4 times speed. And a minion comes in from that 9 o'clock side just in time. The bomb goes off, killing everyone. But there's not enough crash buildings left to stop this 3-star. This was 100%. And that was the first 3-star of this war. Put us in very great position moving forward. They responded with a couple of 3-stars of their own. And so we followed it up with another attack down low. And that would be from Gladiator Queen. Gladiator Queen, a.k.a. Dark Titan, I believe recently changed this account's name to Shady Titan, coming in here with a very interesting Queen Walk Electro Dragon attack. And what you can see immediately is this base is very compact on that 3 to 6 side. And when you see a compact base, you really want to think about Electro Dragons because you get huge value from that Chain Lightning. So he's going to use his King to funnel there, and he's bringing in the Wall Wrecker from around that 9 o'clock side again, moving into the base. The Queen is right behind. Notice how perfect this funnel is. There's absolutely nowhere for her to go but in. And even if she walks down to that air defense, which she is in this case, there's no trash buildings to lure her around. She has to follow in. So that was a great funnel by DT. Anyway, the Wrecker continues to push in. He got 1 Inferno Tower. He's about to get the Warden and a 2nd Inferno Tower, as well as the CC, and possibly even the Eagle Artillery. Poison Spell comes down to deal with all of those archers. I imagine any second now there should be a Rage on the Queen. There we go. And he's just plowing through the base. He's got a ton of value for this kill squad. He's dropping an Electro Dragon, first Electro Dragon at that 3 o'clock side, starting to clear a path for his other E-Drags, and then he sends the rest of them in from the top. So he's coming in from 12 to 3, and his Queen is still doing work on the bottom side. She took out the Air Sweeper, a couple of Expos, and there's nowhere for the Electro Dragons to go but right into the core of this base. And as you can already see, that Chain Lightning is tearing things up. So we'll speed it up a little bit more. This attack ended up being a little bit closer than initially anticipated, but with that last heal spell and the Queen still being up, it was too much, and it's good game. Good game to you, sir. The Queen actually nearly dies here, but, Rage Spell on the last Archer Tower, what are you going to say? Good hit by Gladiator Queen, and we move on to the next attack. For our next attack, we are again going to be watching an attack by Kick Fritz. Shout out to Big Al. This is one of his accounts. This is a very weak Town Hall 12, however, our clan really struggled on it. We had a 99% failure, we had a 98% failure, we had a 92% failure. This base was just not going down, so we took the big dip from 2 to 13 to make sure this base got tripled because we needed it 3-starred in order to win. And Al's going to come in with the Queen Walk from around that 9 o'clock side once again, 3 o'clock side. Tesla pops, and he nicely uses a wizard to take it down. Pekka's there. And again, look at this funnel. There is nowhere for those troops to go but in. All of the trash along the sides is gone. Don't even give your troops a choice if you can. I mean, if you give them a choice, chances are they'll choose wrong, especially if it's the queen, because the queen just never listens to anyone. But anyway, all those troops head right on in. Warden, bowlers, Pekkas, queen, king. He drops a rage, he drops a jump, and this is basically the same plan that everyone else in our clan chose to use on this base. The only difference being, well, Owl has max heroes in this case, and he popped the Warden ability a little bit later, so he gets a tad bit more value than the rest of us. But again, bats came in from the top, and this is what everyone in the clan attempted on this base. I think it's a good plan, but what happens is right here, you would need to think a second jump spell to get into that compartment, and the free spell didn't really do much on that wizard tower or the surrounding defenses. And so that single target Inferno just ends up wrecking everything. We had several situations where the single target Inferno was basically the last thing standing. But Al gets lucky here. Watch these bowlers. These bowlers drop a nice little bounce and take care of that single target Inferno down to almost a hair on percent, and then there's just not enough damage to deal with those two Pekkas. And then once the single target Inferno's down, this is a good game 3-star. And there we have it. On to the next attack. Things were very tight at this point, and it was clear that we would need at least one 3-star to win, and we were down to 2 attacks. So the first of those came from Brown Mamba, and this was actually a fresh hit 3-star. We poorly managed things, and this base was not hit at all until we had 2 attacks remaining. So if he would have failed this base, we would have lost the war outright. Not that he would have, but let's say he gets 2 stars instead of 3. Well, then the next attack would have had to have been a 3-star. The margin for error was very, very low. Mamba comes in with the Queen Walk from the top, and drops a nice little wizard to help with the Electro Dragon and the Baby Dragon. Drops a Coconut Luna and an E-Drag on the side, trying to pull the CC, and also to clear more trash. The E-Drag gets a lot of good value there because the Archer Towers aren't really doing much damage. Drops the King, a couple of Witches, and 2 Bowlers to clear the other side of the funnel, and the right Wall Wrecker right down the center there. And as you can see, the Wall Wrecker proceeds in. Again, the Queen really has no choice but to head in as well. Although, she could try and go to that Archer Tower, but the enemy Queen sort of lures her in. He had a slight issue with this cannon here, but most of the bowlers end up deciding to go in, which works out very good for him. I'm going to speed this up just a tad. Drops the jump spell and the rage spell. Healers come on. Single target Infernos are usually not very good for Pekkas, but in this case, the Warden ability kind of carries the day, although he did lose 2 of them pretty quickly. And the bat spells just come through and wreak havoc all the way around the base, starting at that 9 o'clock side and working their way all the way around. Single target Inferno down. Now, he misses slightly with that free spell, wasn't able to get both, and because of that, the bats do not do quite as much damage as he originally thought they would, but they still did quite a ton. And look at all this cleanup, all these minions clearing the left side, and he still has a full health Archer Queen and a full health Warden with that massive range. And so there's no chance for this base to stay up, basically. And so he's just going to clear it out. It takes a little bit of time. It's not necessarily pretty, but 3 stars is 3 stars. It doesn't really matter how you get there, as long at the end of the day as you get there. So that's a 3-star. This attack put us clearly in control of the war and led to the final attack of the war. We were now tied, and this base number 6 had 1 star on it. We needed at least a 2-star to ensure that we would win on percentage if it was a tie. However, they had an attack left, and the player had previously 3-starred, so there was a good chance he would 3-star again. So it was basically 3-star or bust. And with about 5 minutes left in the war, this attack happened. Again, we got Rosemary L coming in with the Hogs. If you can't tell by now, I like Hogs. They work out really well. Quadquake Hogs, or in this case Quadquake Hope, is a very strong strategy. 3 sections of walls get opened up by those 4 quakes, and it still leaves 3 heals for the Hogs. The Wall Wrecker gets you into the first layer, and into basically the second layer. A couple of Pekkas come in, pre-poison for the enemy CC, and just wreak havoc in there. The Ice Golem as well does a nice job because when it dies, obviously it freezes things, and that helps the Pekkas move deeper into the base. Now, one important note here, the Hogs are going to start to come in from around that 9 o'clock side. However, the key defense that needs to go down before the Hogs are deployed is actually this air sweeper right next to the Eagle Artillery, because if that air sweeper does not go down, the Hogs will path in, and that will wreck their order of attack. And so once that air sweeper goes down, all of the Hogs come in, and as you can see, they path nicely. Again, we have that half moon shape ranging from that 3 o'clock side over to the 9 o'clock side. I said it backwards, but you understand my meaning, I hope. Again, the Queen is still up in the core. Pop her ability any second now, a little bit late, and the Hogs are just rolling through the base. Doesn't matter what that tornado trap has to say, they can't be stopped. Another heal spell. We are now out of heal spells. However, we do have the Grand Warden's ability, which we're going to pop. And the Queen manages to get down the last Inferno Tower. Drop a miner on the back end to get the bomb tower down. That way we save the hogs from the bombs, and it's just cleanup from here on out. This war ultimately ended up being 67 to 66, and this attack clinched it for us on stars. It would have been a clinch on percentage even if we didn't win on stars. Now I'd like to check out some of the other attacks from our lower players. There were some very good ones. Let's see here. We have Blue coming in with an attack on 15. Blue, again, has been using a lot of very interesting attacks, and in this one he's using like a hybrid bat drag kind of thing. So first he has an E-drag over at that 9 o'clock side, and he's just going to wait for that funnel to grow a little bit. And then he drops the king and the queen at the bottom, some version of a suicide hero, which is interesting. So we're just going to watch this continue to develop. And the king sort of walks a little bit. The queen's still shooting down enemy defenses. She gets the first cannon and the second cannon. A couple of skeletons come out, but that's no problem. There's like 20 barbarians there. And the queen continues to walk across the field, knocking out a few more defenses, picks off an archer tower, and now we're coming in with the bats. Excuse me, not the bats, the dragons. So we have a version of bat drag here, but the interesting part is you'll see a slammer, a hound, and several balloons coming in at some point from the other side. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to speed it up just a tad. The dragons are moving through. Here come the balloons and the slammer with the lava hound working our way through, and you see a single target inferno. That means it's bats time. So the bats drop right on top of the wizard tower, which was the only splash damage on the top of the base, and there's absolutely no chance for this base to stand up to that many bats. It's just unfair. And so blue basically just steamrolls this base. There's really nothing that can be done, unfortunately, for it. Well, I should say fortunately for us, because it was a great attack. On to our next attack. There was an attack I wanted to show on here by Ari Pekix, which was a clone spell. Yes, this is it. So this is Town Hall 10v10 attacking, which we don't usually show on here, but I really thought this attack was rather creative, and so I'm going to put it up for the day. Where you're going to see a cloned lava hound, or excuse me, a cloned E-drag electron style attack, which you don't see every day. You see it on YouTube and you think, oh, yeah, that's cool, but I would never use that. Well, here's an example of someone using it in the modern day. Oh, did I mention it has a queen walk? How cool is that? So first we're coming in with the queen, drop a coconut loon to search for mines and protect the baby drag. It ends up getting a Tesla down. First test wall breaker goes down. It doesn't find any bombs. It's not really happy, though. The baby dragon manages to make the funnel on the other side, and we got the queen working through. Here come the wall breakers. They're going to break her into the section with the rage. She has nowhere to go again. Even if she knocks down that building, she's going to head into the core. The king will ensure that she stays in there. And here comes the stone slammer. The king has the enemy queen jump the wall, and so he's going to be able to get her down. And the stone slammer opens things up for him, although he's about to die from that single target inferno. Out comes the Electro Dragon and the Loons, and the Rage and the Clone go down. Look at how much damage he got for that Electro Dragon and the Clone spell. First, all of the Loons got cloned and clears out a whole section of the base, and he has a Queen, a full health Electro Dragon, and also his King still up. And there's 41% of the base down, and he has 2 Lava Hounds and about 18, 15 balloons left. That's more than enough to steamroll this kind of base. Not to mention, it's single target Infernos, not multi, which are just very weak to mass balloon attacks. So we're going to speed this down, or speed this up, and you can see the balloons nicely path through the base. The single target Inferno does some damage to those Lava Hounds, but it's just too little too late. There's so many balloons left, and the only thing left that can even threaten them at all would be that Wizard Tower, but he just doesn't have the focus to do it. And the enemy queen, or the good side queen, is still up, so what you gonna do? Got all that cleanup down, and there's really not much to be said. This was a great attack, and this is 3 stars. There are a few attacks that I wanted to go over that were not 3 stars, but were actually what we would consider to be like close time fails or something like that. First one will be a 99% by Big Al. Importance of cleanup, guys. You're going to see a great attack here. It's well planned, it's well thought out, but things just don't work out because of time. I'm going to speed it up to 4 times just for the sake of time. You're going to see the queen sort of walk her way down here. You're going to see P.E.K.K.A.'s coming in, creating a nice funnel. One of the repeating themes you're going to see over and over and over again is how important funnels are. The one mistake he made there is he popped his wrecker a little bit early, but again, walks right through there. Warden ability, king ability, queen ability. Look how much of the base is cleared out. This base is absolutely smacked. There's more than enough troops left to make short work of what is left. However, you're going to notice on this other side there's a Tesla that's rather deep back there. And with P.E.K.K.A.'s, it's really hard to get through those level 13 walls. It just unfortunately is. So for those of you out there that are, oh, I don't need to do my walls. Yes, you do. This is why it matters. And because of those level 13 walls, it took a little bit of extra time to get through the first layer. Couldn't get through the second layer, and that Tesla stood. This base is actually a pretty good base, so if you're interested in one that's not just a random internet base, let's say, you might want to check it out. Another player of ours, Boohoo, attacked this base first and got 98%, and he came in with the Hogs. We'll watch this attack in full because it's a little bit more interesting. Very similar funneling in terms of side as what Al did. He drops 2 baby dragons, a couple of loons to make sure they don't get hit by seeking air mines. Drop a queen. We got the queen walk coming down. Baby dragons do battle, and he uses the slammer to open up the base for the queen, which I think is a cool way to do it. That's my personal favorite way to do it. Rage on the queen, and the queen marches into the base, takes down the enemy queen, takes down an inferno tower here in a second, takes down an archer tower, and is marching right through. It's pretty clear she's going to get to the eagle eventually. He's got his king making a funnel on the side. You can see the half moon sort of crescent pathing as for the hogs forming from 6 o'clock around the base, right? And it's forming even more clearly now. And so he started at 3 o'clock, and he's going to work his way from 3 all the way around to 9, and he's going to have more than enough hogs to just follow the path. He drops 1 late there to try and help the pathing, but it didn't quite work out. He's just healing them up through the base. There's not enough splash damage to do them in. He's got another heal spell. The queen's still up. He's got a warden ability. He's going to pop it. This base is clearly done so. Like, there's nothing he can do about it. It's absolutely overwhelmed, but time fail. You see that gold storage? What's going to get the gold storage? It's stuck behind so many walls, there's nothing it can do. And unfortunately, that enemy king does a little bit of damage that keeps everything up. And not only does he not get the gold storage, he doesn't get that last gold mine. So that's a good reason why, especially with hog attacks, you should always consider bringing like a miner, something along those lines. It can get under those walls and get to those final buildings that are isolated, let's say. A hog or a balloon could also work. The issue with hogs is they may or may not have the speed and damage necessary because they're boosted to hit defenses, and if you're doing a balloon, you could deal with a seeking air mine. So I personally prefer miners, but again, that's a personal preference thing. Let's feature someone who had a little bit of a rough war, but performed admirably. We have Equanimity, which is the mini of another player in our clan, El DeVito. Equanimity had 2 attacks that were really good, 92 and 93%, but both times time fails. But we'll show them anyway, just because it's very good planning and they're well thought out. So he's going to start with king and 2 wizards to start building his funnel. Right there on that 9 o'clock side, he drops the queen right behind and another P.E.K.K.A. You can start to see the funnel forming. You can start to see where he's heading with this tech. The wall wrecker goes down. This queen is going to follow into the base directly. There's nowhere else for her to go. The P.E.K.K.A.'s cleared that last gold storage, and he's got healers on the queen. So this has turned quickly into a queen charge. Didn't quite get through as many layers as he wanted to, but the P.E.K.K.A. and the Ice Golem did the work. Queen deals with the enemy lava pups, and the minion coming down is a very pro move. You see that on a lot of the live streams. The queen's going to continue to work through this base, knocks down a couple of defenses, deals with the enemy king. She's going to knock down another expo. She's working her way towards the eagle artillery and the enemy queen, and any second now we're bound to see hog riders. And there goes the enemy queen, uses a freeze on the enemy queen, which is what a lot of players have been doing recently. Instead of wasting that rage spell, you save space, and that way, if your queen's not under duress, you can deal with the enemy queen nicely. Warden pop to save from the Giga Tesla, and more hogs to work on the pathing to get that Grand Warden. As you can see, now it's a more clear path, straight line all the way across. This archer tower, he drops a balloon for, trying to get it so that his hogs don't path poorly. It works, and this tornado trap derails him just slightly, but again, there's so few defenses left. We have all these healers. We even have a couple of wizards going, but it's going to come down to too little, too late, and he's going to finish at 92%. But as you can see, this was a well-thought-out, well-planned attack. Key theme here today, bring that cleanup. Look at all these trash buildings. Many of them, if he had knocked out that archer tower a little bit sooner, could have been worked on. And I'm not saying that to knock on Equanimity. It was a brilliantly planned attack. Here we have the second attack from Equanimity, and we will make this likely the last showing of this video. So here's replay number 2. He outdid himself slightly from the first attack, 93% instead of 92. But again, a really nice plan, just not enough cleanup. Comes down with the P.E.K.K.A. and a couple of balloons to knock out that archer tower, also the barbarian king and a wizard working their way down. Another queen, excuse me, not another queen, the queen, and the wall wrecker come down. That single target inferno unfortunately locks onto the king. He drops the free spell to make sure that obviously the king doesn't die, and the wall wrecker is about to work through that compartment. He just needs to get through that compartment, and it's perfect. There we go. The wall wrecker is about to go down, but the king saves the day again, and that single target inferno basically did nothing. The enemy queen goes down, and his queen is marching through the base with a couple of balloons, an ice golem. The eagle goes down, and he's got his king is still alive, way into there, which is great, and he's getting a little bit of splash help from those healers. The enemy air defense locks on to his healers, though, which isn't the best thing, and there's not really much he can do because the queen is far away from targeting it. There's a couple of things she has to deal with first, and so he basically just has to hope that she gets through things quicker, and he's already used all of his free spells, so he has to use a rage. He's lost one healer or two healers, almost three healers before he finally manages to get it down. At this point, the queen has to bang through a wall, and so he starts to send in the hogs. Again, you can see this very nice line-up straight path for the hogs to travel. They're not going to be bouncing around. They're going to follow a straight line drive. If you are able to get straight lines or half moons or U's or whatever you want to call them, those straight paths, those are really what you're looking for with hog raids. If you can arrange it in such a way, it becomes much easier to get a triple. The queen helps these hogs a lot by helping to get this inferno tower down right there, and that keeps their path straight again. However, unfortunately, he did not bring an earthquake spell, and so this town hall is still up, and that really derailed the pathing. If they would have hit this town hall first, it would have been much easier for them to make it through that town hall and then these outstanding Teslas. However, they hit the town hall later, and the Giga Bomb does a bit of damage, but they do have the Warden ability. There's just not enough of them left because of the way they split. And when hogs split, they lose their pack strength, and there's not much you can do. He manages to get one of the Teslas with those two loons, but again, the queen is still up, but she's not going to be able to take down all these things. Even with only one healer, she's just not strong enough. There's nothing she can do. He has a ton of cleanup, but in this case, just wasn't enough. So we'll watch until the end here, but there we have it, 93%. But overall, this was a very good win, well fought out. This was a strong clan. Out of 13 enemy bases, we managed to triple 5, which isn't terrible. It's a little bit more than 33%. We try to shoot for around 40% triple rate here at the Neighborhood, but we'll take the win any day. Thank you again for watching. We always enjoy kind of making this content, and I hope you enjoy watching it as well. Like and subscribe, and you can find us on Discord. And also, our clan is currently recruiting, so feel free to look out and check us out. We're at #8YOP2UUJ. This has been Saber from the Neighborhood, recapping our War with Realm Warriors. I hope you have a great day.